that he knows there's immigrants everywhere, and we just come to accept it. It's part of our tradition. So I want to encourage more legal immigration, and if we can find a way to legalize the 11 million a year, I just want to be sure that we're serious about security and not just saying it's there. If that can be done, then I would certainly vote for it.
There are 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country who deserve a path to legal status, a path to citizenship. It is wonderful and huge progress that the Senate Committee, Judiciary Committee passed this bill, but the jury is still very much out. Peter King's very conservative Tea Party colleagues have no interest in ensuring a path to citizenship, and the fight ultimately, I'm concerned that Maggie thinks it may not even get out of the Senate, but we certainly have an internecine battle coming in the House, and at the end of the day, the Republicans politically need to do this. If they don't, they're going to lose the Hispanic vote for a generation.
It's a question of getting it done right. And again, I don't want to be in a situation where 5 years from now there's another 5 or 10 million illegal immigrants here in the country. Yes, if we can legalize them, fine. But again, we have to make sure the systems are in place and we're not just going through a feel-good process where we say the security is really not there.
I want to move to another big issue, not just this week, but for months and months and months, and that's the issue of military sexual assault. You heard President Obama talk about it. You heard Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel talk about it. This is a huge issue. You heard General Allen talk about it, that it's a matter of leadership. But is it more than that? Does more need to happen?
26,000 sexual assaults in 2012 alone.
That they believe made many of them unreported.
Right, men and women. I mean, the person who was responsible for sexual assaults and their accountability was accused of sexual assault. What has to happen here is legislation to ensure that we can take the reporting out of the chain of command and make sure that reporting can go straight to a military prosecutor.
And the military will argue that will interrupt good order and discipline, that the commander has to be in charge of those units.
Look, you can't, no woman or man who is accusing someone of sexual assault can be expected to bring it up one above them to the chain of command, especially if that person is the person
You
who
take
is
it as their chain of command?
Yeah, I have the same concern Senator Levin does about the chain of command. Having said that, let's agree. We agree 99.9% it has to be done. There has to be legislation. If it has to be fine-tuned in a way to ensure the chain of command is not broken, we have to, the current system is not working, it's broken, and anyone who has a daughter or even a son in the military, whatever, or a relative, it's absolutely offensive to think that they can be sexually abused and proper action not taken.
Jim, I'll look quickly. I've heard this for 20 years. I've heard leaders saying this is going to change, zero tolerance, and it hasn't. Do you really believe it will change this time because of what the president said this was, because he's made it a priority?
Having covered the war as you did in Iraq, I saw the number. It's the numbers more than the fact that there's so many men and so few women. I believe the women are uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable in Iraq. When I saw them in the barracks, it was not a comfortable situation. They're uncomfortable in the academies, and this is terrible for the military because what's happening.
Sexual assault happens to men too, by the way.
Yes.
It does, but not in the numbers. And what is bad for the military here is that what's happening is that the women are not getting the best and the brightest anymore because they're not going to want to go in the military, and their mothers and their fathers are not going to want to send them to the academies. They've got to fix it.
Final point. Anthony Weiner back in a run for mayor. Does he have a chance?
He has a chance because this field is pretty lackluster and nobody is capturing the imagination of the public. But I have yet to meet a single political professional who thinks that Anthony Weiner is going to be the next mayor. So he has a chance, but a